Our Ducati SuperSports have some Freeplay or slop in the throttle, and I don't know if it's meant to be there or if there's a good reason for it to be there, but I don't like it, and other owners don't like it either. From the 939 forum, I learned about a way to get rid of that throttle slop, and I'm going to show it to you. It's fast, easy and cheap, and it's just a bit of heat shrink. So on my standard grips, I've already been riding, I think, for about 9 months with the throttle slop gone, and I really love it. It didn't take much at all to get used to, and it felt really natural. So when I put the heated grips on and I had this throttle slop, it took a little bit of getting used to, but it never stopped annoying me. So let's get rid of it. So the ingredients we need are, well, for me anyway, 5mm Allen key to remove my Soto Racing bar end, then a Phillips head bit to take the throttle assembly off the bar, then a little tri-point bit. You may not be able to see that, it's just 3 little points, and that is to take the throttle assembly apart, and then I've got a little ratchet driver to do that. I'm using the heat shrink that we have, which is not the ideal size. I've got some, I think this one must be 8mm diameter and this one is a 12mm diameter, but I'm going to end up using a couple of layers, I think, of that, and then scissors to cut it to the right length, and a gas soldering iron to heat the heat shrink up. So now you can see where the little lugs are. There's one just here. You can see that's where the grip grabs onto the throttle assembly. And there's also one, if I pull the grip fully away, there's also one down around this other side as well. What we're going to do is space these lugs out by putting heat shrink around them. Now there is another option. I think a few different companies or people are making little pre-made plastic sleeves, I guess, that go around these lugs. And you can order them and get them shipped to you and then install them, and that's super. I'll leave it up to you to go find out the price of those things, but for me it's just as much effort to pull the whole thing apart and put heat shrink on than it is to wait for those little lugs to arrive in the post and then install them. And besides, the heat shrink's costing me nothing. Just to make this easier to do and to manage, I'm going to slide all of this off the bar, but I don't want to have to undo any of the cables. There's 2 wires going down for, there's 1 wire going down for the heat, for the heated grips, and the other one's for the throttle. So I'm just going to try and loosen these off and hope I can get this to slide off. Now, if I remember correctly, I needed to snip this little zip tie off just to release this cable so I can pull this out enough just to get heat shrink on that lug there. Super, super carefully. I have another zip tie ready to do that up again. So now this comes free and I can more easily get at it with the heat shrink. Because of the heat shrink I've got available, I'm using a combination. I've got 3 pieces of the red, which I think is 8mm diameter, I'm not sure, there wasn't enough length of it for it to be written anywhere, and 1 piece of 12mm diameter. One of the lugs is a little bit bigger, so a red and a black is going to go on that, and 2 reds are going on the other one. I've cut these about 6 mil wide, and that seems to be about the right height for these lugs. So I'll get the first layers on, shrink them on, and then the second layers. The good thing about this is there's no external flame. And so it's pretty safe, I think. And the second layers, another red one on the small lug and a black one over on the big lug. I'm just gently pushing down just to make sure that it's sitting nice and flush with the top of the lug. I don't know if there can be interference anywhere. It certainly didn't happen on my other grips, but that doesn't mean don't be careful. So I'll just let that cool and then stick the throttle back together again. So as it turned out, when I put the black one around the bigger lug, that was more than I needed for this set of grips anyway. I needed it on the other ones, but not these heated grips. But it does go to show that whatever you heat shrink on there just comes straight off pretty easily. So I've just redone another red one. And now that goes on nicely. And I can't really feel any slop, so we'll put it back together and double check that it worked. This locates in a hole on the bar as well to make sure that you get it in the right place. I guess there's still a tiny bit in there, but nowhere near what it was before. I just couldn't get that second layer of heat shrink over the second lug, and that's all that is, but that's heaps better. I'll hardly notice it. Nice. All done.